Welcome back, guys! Previously on 48400, The Art of Environmental Control, A Home is Not a House, we went through the process of reading and presenting, getting a quick glance through all the chapters, good knowledge, dissection, yes, into the heart and guts of this content, analysis. That's where it gets serious, guys. No more playing around. We're content creators now. And now, step 4, present day condition. What do we have here? Chapter 1, Unwarranted Apology. Do we still have reason to be sorry? Rayner Banham's primary criticism is that the architectural profession, thus far, has developed too removed from technology and mechanization, that there is an inherent flaw in the way architecture is taught and perceived by its own practitioners as a pure art. His concerns are threefold. Firstly, the way we draw. There's pure graphical elegance without calling out any of the environmental provisions. Secondly, the way we teach. How schools fail to prioritize these systems instead focusing on the drawing. And thirdly, the way we write. That thus far, any literature on architectural and technological history is entirely defined by one text. Do these criticisms still ring true? Let's look at the way we draw. The way we build now, architects and architectural firms are responsible for producing comprehensive construction documents detailing the systems of their building. The tools that we use to draw have evolved to include largely BIM modeling, which allows us to collaborate closely with these specialist consultants. Even if some of these drawings are prepared by engineers in other fields, they are done under the specifications of the architect, carefully cross-checked to ensure accuracy and consistency. While there is still a degree of idealization around the simple partie sketch being the basis of a brilliant building, we've learned from situations like the Sydney Opera House that a great drawing does not a good building make. Mechanical and structural systems are essential. Architecture is more than the elegance of a squiggly line. Ultimately, the way we draw and the way we practice is rooted in what our educational institutions are teaching us. Which brings me on to the way we teach. With the NCARB and NAB requirements, architectural education today is mandated to include a decent amount of knowledge about mechanical and environmental controls, so we know how to make a home a house. Some schools have year-long internship requirements that allow students to gain more professional experience. But there is a difference between curriculum and culture. Just feeding students information does not always change the way they think about architecture. I still believe that our education teaches us to view architecture as an art, to prioritize the poetics of light, sequence, entry experience, whereas in the real world, our responsibilities extend far more into the science of building, the comfort of humans, the management of systems. How do we teach students to appreciate the beauty behind functional procedures? Which really takes me on to my third point, the way we learn. The literature on mechanization has expanded far beyond Gideon and Banham. Endless other experts have weighed in, and the fields of knowledge on thermal comfort, on the technological takeover of the house, on the non-human advances into design, etc. has expanded. Architecture is ultimately still a profession that relies on consultant specialists. And perhaps this will never change. Like Gideon says, the basis of scientific management is that you break down a process into all of its component parts and relegate each part to its most efficient undertaker, be that human or machine. Because there is no straight path to progress. Instead, the field has elected to diversify immeasurably. While some stay devoted to the graphical power of paper architecture, others commit themselves to working seamlessly with specialists to build wonderful buildings. And some have chased the dream of the machine so rigorously, they've almost left architecture entirely behind. We don't have to become victim to mechanistic enslavement. We can chart our own path or paths forward. This is our inheritance, what will be our revolution.
Good stuff. But if that's present day, what about the future? The Making of an Architect by Rainer Banham. Translation and illustrations by Peck. Step 1. Curiosity. The architectural student must have an interest in the construction and creation of new spaces, a desire to build for the benefit of humankind. The student must seek to uncover the secret profession of architecture and the way they will use their newfound powers to change our world. Step 2. Inherited knowledge. The architectural student will engage in all manners of theory and practice. In theory, she will bury herself in centuries of the history of our trade and all of its significance, then taught to disregard it in embrace of current practice. She will become familiar with the old masters of the profession and well-versed in their contributions to the trade, then encouraged to dismantle their cult of personalities to uncover their faults and failures.
Le Corbusier's political allegiances have cast a shadow over his architectural achievements.
She will find her own heroes. She will be given more than a cursory education in mechanical and structural systems. She will read all of Rainer Banham's books on technology and architecture. She will be expected to understand how to temper the environment of a building perfectly. She will be imparted with the skills to do so in sketching, model making, technological wizardry, and expected to practice and perfect these skills with mind-numbing rigor until she is master of all elements. Step 3. Partnership. The architectural student now has equal knowledge of the art of architecture and the science of building, but she still struggles to balance beauty with functionality, seeing the two as separate entities. Enter the engineer. The engineering student and the architectural student will begin their lifelong partnership at the academy. Both have much to learn from each other and only the rest of their lives to do so. The engineering student must temper his pragmatism and the architecture student her idealism. The end goal is to produce architects and engineers who share an analytical capability and creative energy. Individuals who can pool their knowledge of systems and materials to derive new understandings. Who will work together seamlessly like the cogs in a machine to creatively engineer ideal solutions for the way we inhabit space. Together they will imagine new poetic ways of building environments for humankind.
I would very much like to see.
Step 4. Mechanization. The rise of the computer renders certain abilities of the engineer and the architect unnecessary. The machine has a superior skill set in flawless and efficient calculation and knowledge retention. It can be taught to draw, build, and even design better than the human hand. What the machine cannot be taught is inherent curiosity. It will not explore naturally without being instructed to do so. The architect and the engineer must continue to ignite each other's curiosity to stay ahead of the machine. The collective genius is our future evolution. Alright, that's all we have for now. Tune in again next week for more great videos. And go ahead and hit that like, comment, and subscribe button if you like what you're seeing.